We are here with Clark Wright, this beautiful gentleman.
Hello.
Clark Wright is monitors for...
Noah Kahan?
Yeah, you are. Which is...
Yeah,
that.
all that.
Can you show us your world?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, stage left.
Stage left, the old monitor world. This is me.
Digico.
Yeah,
It is not Avid.
it is not.
Why Digico?
It's actually a pretty recent change. I was a huge Avid guy, and then this, like, North American run, decided to make the switch. No one huge reason, it was a bunch of little ones. We've got a really, like, discerning band, so the nodal processing on this, like, being able to make everything sound different for each person is huge. And I'm also very, very big on automating things. Like, I want as little on my plate so I can be, like, listening and looking at the band.
Yeah.
And this let me do a lot of that, a lot more granular with snapshot stuff. I could do a lot of that on the Avid, it just took, like, a few extra steps.
Okay.
This is a lot quicker.
So what got you into sound?
Kind of the classic failed rock star.
Failed musician?
Yeah.
I'm making a t-shirt. I've got to make a t-shirt.
Yep. Failed is probably a strong word. I think this was my backup plan, you know? And it was studio at first and then turned into this, but...
I should be a musician, crashed out, audio engineer.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like that's most of us at this point.
Yep.
But yeah, I started doing this kind of as a backup plan and then slowly realized, oh, this is way more fun for me. Like, I like the creative stuff, but I'm also very logical brained, you know, and like, I don't know, automating things and programming things and all that. I ended up having way more fun doing this.
Okay.
And also eventually realized I do not have the personality to be up there. I would be standing quietly.
Man, monitors is tough. I've said this before, but it's like, he's got, what, 16,000 people, and you've got, what, 8 people?
6 on stage, plus 4 backline techs, plus some crew mixes.
Yeah, and the one that signed your paycheck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the most important one.
Yeah. One big one.
Out of all of them. And it's interesting that, like, I think that one of the biggest things for monitors, and Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, is that communication, honestly.
Yeah.
And being able to give them what they're asking. And it's tough sometimes with people that they have a hard time verbalizing exactly what they want as well. So and one of my things was like, I can't fix what I don't know, so just give me the opportunity. Don't do nothing and then get pissed off at me.
Yeah.
I mean, give me something.
Yeah. Well, we joke all the time about, like, monitors is half being a psychologist, because you have to, it is that. They won't tell you what they need. You have to anticipate, like, oh, he's dragging a little bit, I need to push the click. Or like, oh, his pitch is off, I need to give him something with a pitch reference.
Sure.
For right now. There's a lot of, and being with an artist longer too helps. It's learning just little, like, oh, he turned this way, that means this thing. Or like little, you know, very little things where I've gotten a spare pack out before, and our monitor tech, Frank, will be like, what are you doing that for? I'm like, well, I think it'll be, and then it'll be like, oh, ears are cutting out. Like, yep, run it out there. Just being able to anticipate all that.
So you're being more proactive than reactive with it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. As much as possible.
Are you able to, like, tell those cues now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, just little teeny things, you know, little tells.
Okay, so what is your process? Walk me through, this is your first time with this band or with a band.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get the ear set? And are you guys just in-ears or in-ears and wedges, sorry?
We're all ears.
All ears,
Yeah,
okay.
no
So what's your
wedges.
process of getting a band or this band set up for a mix?
I think the biggest one is just talking to them first.
Okay.
Because sometimes you can assume, oh, they'll want just them, or oh, they'll want basically front of house with them up. And sometimes that's so far off that you end up spending more work undoing what you've done.
Okay.
So I think step one is just communication. That's what we said earlier already, you know?
Yeah.
Is talking about, what do you like to hear? What are things you absolutely don't like to hear? What are things that will ruin your show? So I can know, like, priority 1, avoid this thing.
Yep.
What are things that are important to you? That's absolutely step 1.
Okay.
Oops.
So at pre-pro, you have a conversation beforehand.
Yes.
And then you just kind of guesstimate from there and then go up, down, whatever they want.
Yeah, and this one's been kind of a unique experience because when I started with him, we were doing like House of Blues style things, and this is obviously a little bigger. So it's been nice to grow with them too and realize what they need in different size rooms. Like crowd mics and stuff was huge for this this one just, trying to get the feel of a club in this room is
Sure.
challenging and different. It's something you don't always have to do, bouncing back and forth.
So how much of it is a set and forget?
Very little with this group.
Okay.
Yeah, I have everything's fully time coded. I got like 100 snapshots going, like everything's moving all the time. And part of it too is because everyone plays several instruments. So there's a lot of up and down, like on this one, this mandolin's the lead. On this one, the mandolin's just a rhythm. And like passing stuff around like that is quite a feat.
Have you always done this end of the snake?
Not always, for the past several years.
Okay.
I kind of got to a point. I used to be a jack of all trades, where I'd do front of house or monitors or even a little bit of lights, a little bit of video teching, whatever was needed. And then I finally was like, I'm going to pick one thing and go with it. Okay. And this, I think, is a good mix of the creative, and then I'm a huge fan of the problem solving. What's the most efficient way I can do something? How can I solve this problem? And I feel like that's what a lot of this is. And I love that stuff. So
what advice do you have for the person who's doing monitors but having a hard time breaking through and getting with a touring act?
Man, I think it's just talk to people. There's been a few times in my career where I've kind of hit a wall and man, I don't know what to do next. And then I just call everyone I know, and never just hey, do you have a job? But hey, I'm looking for this. What do you suggest I do? Or do you have anyone else I could talk to? Or do you have anything I should get better at? Is there anything that I'm, hitting a wall where I'm not getting any further because I'm not good at this thing? Do you see that in me that I can fix? And then the other side for me, which I feel like is almost the opposite of this, is just put your head down, work hard.
Yeah.
That's the whole way I got this gig was somebody saw me at a festival where I had a console completely crash, and I had to pull a festival X32, repatch a split, do this whole thing, do the show completely blind, and it went fine. And somebody saw that and went, oh, that guy will figure it out. So I don't know, doing a good job and having people see that and wanting to know, oh, I got to get that guy's number. Yeah. And that's, I don't know, worked out well for me thus far.
Can we see some of the stage?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go check it out.
Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, yeah, so what do you want to see?
I want to see if you can climb this. Big stage, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Clean stage, though, because you don't have a lot of wedges. But first off, let's do walk through your mic setup, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk back with the push talk, I'm assuming?
We have a lot of talkbacks on this gig.
Okay.
So everybody's got one. There's a lot of communication going on.
Goes to ears, goes to front of house, D, all the above?
Mostly me. That's kind of one of my jobs is almost switchboard operator.
Okay.
I've got a little stream deck over there that's all this person to this person, band to this person to Noah. So there's a lot of, I don't know, I'm the relay guy.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a big part of it.
Cool.
So you'll see those all over the place with varying degrees of hot shots or optigates or whatever the situation calls for.
Okay, I see a lot of optogates here as well.
Yep. Yeah, that's...
What do you got for mics?
All of us are on the DPA mics.
Okay.
Which I am a huge fan of. It's kind of a, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, we got it right, and we're sticking with it. Okay.
How many of y'all are using optogates? You got a lot of
Noah's not on one. Our drums are on a Beta 56, because, form factor.
Yeah.
But I think everyone else has an optogate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Can we see some drum mics?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Yeah, so what do you got for mics?
I feel like what I'm seeing more and more becomes sort of the standard. Good old 91. We got a D6 in the kick as well, on a Kelly shoe kind of thing. Snare, good old 57. Toms are these Earthworks, the DM20s, which I've been a huge fan of. It's one of the few, I don't know, a lot of things are whatever mic suits the purpose. These I found are I just love them. Full stop. They work. I love those things. Kind of the same with the Bayer M160s. Having ribbons on overheads has been huge, because it's that, it gets rid of all that harsh, bright cymbal stuff. It kind of does some of that work for you, evens it out. Like one of the maybe non-standard, we've got a crush mic. So way in here, there's another 160 that we just kind of smash the hell out of and spread around. It's a nice, easy, like just a little more drums. You just push it up, instead of every fader or group or whatever. So that's been really nice. We got a D6 on our big boy tom over there.
Okay.
That thing sounds huge.
That is a big boy tom.
Yeah.
What size is that?
18 maybe? It's basically a kick
borderline kick drum. I was going to say, it's borderline kick drum at that point.
It's got the wood hoops and everything, man. Yeah, that one's fun. Couple 184s for like ride and hats.
Okay.
I think that's about it. Nothing super crazy. We were doing triggers for a while to like open gates and stuff.
Yeah. And
then ended up becoming a hassle with traveling so much. And then we're like, do we really need it? And now we're just kind of running with it as is.
Okay.
So this is one of our multi-instrumentalists. So he's got a Nord in here that's largely triggering VST sounds from playback. We've got the Nord also patched in just in case, and then he's got the electronic version of the B3 from him, and I don't know the numbers on it, XK something or other.
Sure.
We've got a Whirly, which has been really fun. We were all a little nervous because they're, fragile, but it's been great and it's been well worth it. Sounds killer. A couple more DPAs, and then Dylan here also plays mandolin, banjo, and then a mandocello, which is like a big mandolin, basically, like guitar-sized baritone mandolin almost.
Yeah.
So he's bouncing back and forth between all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
And he's one of the ones, I think Joel kind of alluded to it. We've got like a tuning system for them. And then Nina down here is the same. She's got, I think, 5 different instruments. So we were like, how do we get a tuner in front of them that's not, 5, because everything's wireless too. So we'd have like 5 SGI returns, 5 tuners, 5 DIs. Like we can't be doing that. That's too much. So instead, I built these little pedals.
Yeah, show me that.
Yeah, so instead we just have a single tuner, and then these foot switches that I built for just GPIO, they're just contact closure.
Okay.
So when all their instruments get bussed down to one line and returned to the tuner, and then when they push this, it will mute all their lines in everyone else's ears, and then in their own ears, it'll pan it left, just as an indicator to know, like, oh, I'm in tune mode. And then they can tune, they can check, they can do whatever they want, hit it again, and then it's back to normal. And then I've actually got it, so it's a GPIO for me.
Interesting, okay.
And then it also sends a tone to Joel. So with the Avid, you can have the vents triggered by,
tone
level, over a certain, or meter over a certain level. So then it sends a tone to him that also unassigns it all from the house. So they hit this button, mutes it everywhere, lets them tune, don't have to think about it, don't have 16 boxes down here. That's the kind of stuff I love doing. Any take the responsibility off of us and just automate it, give them a button to do it.
Some would see that as a very complicated way to check tuning.
Yes, pretty much. But like I said, necessitated by the fact that he's got 3 wireless instruments down there. She's got a similar rig with 5.
Yeah.
It's just
that's so cool.
Becomes a lot. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff I'm very into. I love doing all this.
You got any other cool projects you can show us?
What else do we have? All of our backline techs have just those Korg like nano pad MIDI controllers.
Okay.
So I've got like a Mio, one of those MIDI interfaces in my rack, and I've got MIDI going all over the place for different things. But all of our backline techs just have like a nano pad, really small controller, and that way like all the infrastructure's there. So if they think of something like, oh, I'd like a button to do this, it's just a couple taps away. So right now, like all of our backline guys have some type of tuning system. Mm-hmm. So they'll have, some of them it's auto, it like does its own. So if they start tuning, it'll go through a mixer. And then when, I have a ducker on their mix. So when they tune, it'll pull the mix down, let them hear themselves tuning a guitar. And then when they're done, mix pops back up, like talkbacks stay up. And then some other guys don't want it auto, so they just have buttons to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Or they'll have buttons to talk to their guys. So, you know, like their own musicians on stage, whoever they're teching for, they can route their talk back around instead of, like I said, I like taking things off my plate. So I don't want to, hey, let me talk to so-and-so. I'm like, oh, hold on, I got to push all the buttons. That way it's them and I can just look and listen.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. How many mixes are you doing, you said?
How many am I doing? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-ish.
Band members, or is it also for
It's for all
techs
over
as well?
the place. Yeah.
Okay.
6 band. I've got 3 guests. I don't think I've ever had to use more than 2 at a time. But then I've got 4 techs, each with their own like fully snapshotted mix, and then I use a front of house backup mix that I have going. That my monitor tech Frank really helps me be like, hey, can you turn this up, turn that down?
Oh, cool.
And then I matrix that out to all our like crew people too, so that instead of I feel like oftentimes the crew mix gets neglected and like oh yeah, that's fine, I don't need to worry about that. And this way they have a nice, fully featured, and then if something happens out there, we've got a failover. Like I can, worst case scenario, we can pump it through the PA if they need time for something, and then it's all ready to go. I don't have to think about it. It takes care of itself.
Pre or post?
I'm pre on this one. I've kind of bounced back and forth.
Okay. Which do you prefer? Or just depend on the band?
I think it depends on the band.
Okay. For people who don't know, explain what that means.
Yeah, so we got pre-fader or post-fader on the sends, and people approach that a few different ways. I've done post-fader where, you know, on the main layer, if I turn this up or down, it'll affect all the mixes being pre. I've done post-fader where, or sorry, I said that wrong. Post-fader is where if it, on the main layer, will affect the mixes. I've done post-fader where I just kind of keep them all at unity, and that's just one more layer of like, someone's like, everyone says, oh, the bass is loud today. Just pull it down.
Sure.
I've done a couple times where you kind of mix the main layer and then have you can have like their own instruments be pre to them, and then everything else is post, so their stuff is static and the rest of the mix moves. This one's all pre. I'm using the main layer for Noah, for the main artist.
Okay.
And largely just to use groups. I'm doing a lot of group processing, which was new for this run for me. But it's been huge because it allows me to do I do a lot of side chaining stuff to create space. So like our band bus has a multi-band EQ on it that's cutting out like his vocal, or side chaining to his vocal.
Sure.
So it'll cut out that like 1 to 4K. And it was, when I started that, I turned his vocal down 10 dB, and he was like, this is great. So it got me a ton of space. And then I started doing that all over the place. So now I've got groups for everything, all kinds of weird side chain stuff going on. But yeah, sorry, I got way off topic.
No, you're great. I love that. Advice for brand new monitor engineers, people who want to be a monitor engineer.
That's tough. You get that question a lot, not often just monitors, you know? I think kind of what I said at the top, where just talk to people.
Sure.
This job is, specifically this side of the snake, is a lot of communication. It's a lot of predicting what they're going to want. And the more you know the person, the easier it is to know, like, oh, he's going to hate this thing, or oh, she doesn't like it when this thing happens.
Yeah.
So just being very aware of your surroundings.
Okay.
I think that's the other thing for monitors is you're an engineer, so you want to be pushing buttons. Most of this is, I always joke that like if suits are around, I'll like, you know, I'm doing something, I promise. Because it looks like I'm doing nothing. Everything's automated, and I've got my crowd mics and my artist's instrument, so it looks like I'm just sitting staring, like, but I'm like just locked in, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest thing, is just watching and listening to them, seeing what changes, what anyone needs.
Yeah. Well, if people want to follow you on social media, where can they follow you?
Yeah, mostly just Instagram, Clark C. Wright.
Okay.
Just my name.
Or come to Noah Kahan show.
Yeah, come hang out.
Awesome, brother.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man.